Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are chocolate chip cookies. This particular cookie, though, is a little bit different than probably your traditional chocolate chip cookie because it comes out more like a cake cookie, if you know what I mean. It has a great chew to it. But it's not your traditional one. Now, if you're looking for traditional chocolate chip cookies or Italian chocolate chip cookies, I have, I think, over a dozen or so on my channel, so please check it out. But I like to make all different type of various textures of cookies, and when I saw this one and got the recipe from a friend's friend, I thought it was really kind of unique and a great tasting cookie. So let's get started. First off, I'm making these chocolate chip cookies, or we can call them cakey type cookies. You're going to start off with a butter, and you want to start off with 1 3/4 sticks of butter, 1 3/4 sticks. I cut it up into small pieces because I think it's easier to cream and break up and saves time for the video. Now I'm going to warn you about the sound throughout this video, so if you want to turn it down, because I know it can come out pretty loud sometimes, so warn you about the sound. Now, you can make this recipe with a hand mixer if you prefer. I like to use my stand-up because for the videos it's much quicker. I don't have to keep you as long watching them, and just what I prefer. The next thing you're going to be putting in is granulated sugar, and you need 3/4 of a cup. Now, what you're going to do is you want to cream these sugars together, and we're going to add another type of sugar in just a few seconds, and you want to cream them for at least about 2 minutes. Now again, I would be spending more time than this, but it's due to the video. The next thing you're going to put in is a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and cream those together. Again, warn you about the sound. I usually don't use that high of a speed, but again, just to move it along. Now, once that you cream that, and again, it's going to take you that 2 minutes or so, we're going to go in a little bit of a reverse order than we're used to, but it makes these cookies work, so I just follow it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of salt in. We're going to put 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Whatever time it takes to really blend those nicely, okay? We're going to put 2 eggs in, 1 at a time, that have been at room temperature. Now I'm just going to clean the sides of my mixing bowl here and get to the bottom because it tends to stick down there. And then I'm going to turn it on again and just start blending it more. Now again, spend that 1 or 2 minutes, okay, to really blend that in. The next thing that you're going to now is work on the rest of the dry ingredients. I did put some already in, as you saw, of the dry ingredients. And you're going to be putting in flour. So you need 2 1/4 cups of flour, and then I'm also going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And then with my little whisk here, I'm just going to give this a good little stir. And then slowly I'm just going to start adding the rest of the dry to the wet. combine all of that. You don't want to over mix it because you don't want the cookies to be real dense or heavy, but you do want to mix it well. Now this you can fold in or you can stir in. I like to stir them in. I don't think they really break up, you know, lose the integrity of the chocolate chips. But we're going to put 2 cups of chocolate chips. Use whatever you like, whether it's milk chocolate or dark chocolate, or you can change it up, use butterscotch, whatever type of flavor morsels you have. That I prefer to put them in with my mixer. Like I said, I just, you know, I turn it up a little bit towards the end just to make sure that they're evenly distributed, and they really don't break them up. So I know a lot of people think that you're going to do that, but do it by hand or as I did. And now I'm just going to make sure that everything's kind of come together, and I'll show you this nice cookie dough. Oh, it smells so good. You know, when you combine butter and sugars together, oh, and then the chocolate, oh, it smells so nice. So it gives you a nice cookie batter. Now you're going to get about 3 dozen out of this recipe if you make them about the size of a tablespoon. I went ahead and used this scoop. In fact, I measured a tablespoon, put one in, so it fit perfectly. It's not the smallest, it's the 1 step up on the scoop. But if you don't have a scoop, just use a tablespoon. Again, you'll get 3 dozen out of them. Now, the next thing is they really work best if you either use a liner or parchment paper on it. I really never bake these cookies where I use a spray or grease the pan. I tend to use the parchment or a liner on them. Now you're going to put these cookies about 2 inches apart. They will spread a bit. They're not going to spread a lot. In fact, when they bake up, they have a nice little dome to them, so they don't go super flat, which we're kind of more used to, the traditional chocolate chip cookie that tends to go flat. And I'm not going to bore you by having you watch me put these on parchment paper, because I'm sure everybody can do that. But I managed to get 12. So that way I'm only using, you know, the three cookie sheet or pans or whatever you're going to use to bake your cookies on. Now you're going to bake them at 350 degrees, and they could take you anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. And you know, our oven's set up so differently, so do start checking them. I actually do my first rotation after about 5 minutes. That type of thing. By the way, I'm sorry I no longer put the recipe below the video anymore, and I'm not alone on it, that's for sure, but I just get really tired of people taking my work, pinning it, posting it. And I always tell people, you know, if you have a question or a comment, write to me. And it's pretty frustrating when I can't answer you, because it's not on YouTube, where the only place that I put my videos on. Now, I'm going to rinse my hands in a little bit of soap and water here. And I'd like to show you what they look like once they bake up. They will bake up just beautifully. As I said, they will have a nice little high dome to them. You have a nice light golden brown on the bottom. You don't want to over bake them because you don't want them to be too dry. Okay. Let me just break open one for you. And I'm just going to kind of press on the crumb. This is where you could see that they're not real dense, but you can also see that they have moisture to them, so that they are more of a cake cookie. They're not extremely dry, but this is when it comes in where you get that nice chew on the cookie. So when you break them apart, you'll see how really nice and chewy they can be. So again, if you're looking for a cookie that has, a softer center to them, and you like that chew of a cookie, I think you're really going to like these little chocolate chip cakey cookies. I really do. Now, if you try this recipe and you like it, well, leave a comment, because I really like to hear from you. And if you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, well, I can't thank you enough. So I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.